Good morning, students. So let's begin with the second part of the lesson Nelson Mandela, okay, from the first flight. So we were on page number 21. So we stopped here. Purest diamonds. Alright, so let's start from the next paragraph. Right, so it is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Time and again I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength of resilience that defies the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Okay, so here Mandela says that from these comrades means his companion, okay, or friends, those who struggle against the discrimination, okay, those who fought the government to end the apartheid discrimination. So through those comrades, Mandela learned the meaning of courage, okay, and he has seen men and women risking their lives, sacrificing their life for an idea. And he has seen many men stand up, okay, who stood up, attacking and torture without breaking, showing their strength and resilience. Resilience means ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effect. So he has seen so many men and women, okay, dealing with any kind of hardship that comes across in their life and recover it. And Mandela says that courage was not the absence of fear. See? Without fear, there is no courage. Okay, so courage means not having fear, but to triumph over the fear. So, in other words, without fear, without courage, or likewise, without fear, there is no courage, and without courage, there is no fear. Okay, but courage means here triumph over the fear. And he also says that brave man is not who doesn't afraid. Okay, everyone afraid of anything, right? But brave man, he is the one who conquers that fear. Brave man is the one who conquers or triumphed over the fear. Okay, so next, no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Even in the grimmiest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. Okay. Right, so here Mandela says that nobody is born, okay, hating one another just because of their color of the skin or just because of their background, okay, or religion. Everyone is equal, see. And he also mentioned that if people learn to hate, then they can be taught to love, see. If a person know how to hate, then we can be or they can be taught to love. For love comes naturally to the human heart, then it's opposite, yeah. Okay. And he says that even in the grimmest, even in the darkest times in prison, he was in prison for 30 years, right? So grimmest means even in the darkest time of prison, okay? When his comrades were pushed to our limit, I would see a glimmer of humanity, okay? So students, you may underline this word, okay? Glimmer, it means kindness, or you can say goodness, or pity, okay? So when he was in prison, okay, in his darkest time, he can see the goodness, the kindness, or pitiness, justice in one of the guards, just perhaps for a second, okay? So that glimmer of humanity, kept him going, kept him alive in the prison. And he says that man's goodness is like a flame, like a fire that can be hidden but never extinguished. So he compares man's goodness, okay, man's humanity, or kindness, Man's kindness is like a flame, okay, that can be hidden but never be extinguished. Alright, so oral comprehension check. I have already given you the notes, yeah? Study at home, okay? Go through it. So let's go to the next paragraph. In time, every man has twin obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife, children, and he has an obligation to his people, his community, his country, in a civil and human. Here Mandela says that in every man's life, okay, everyone has two obligations. Here obligations, bind to do, okay, our duty, okay. What is that? What is the twin obligation? Twin means two, isn't it? Two duty that we must do. One is to look after his parents, family, wife and children. And the second obligation is look after his people and his country, his community, okay? So let's go to the next page. In a civil and human society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations and abilities. Inclination means your behavior. So each man has to be fulfilled these two obligations according to our own, abilities and behavior. Yeah? But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man from my birth and color to fulfill both these obligations. But here in this country, okay, in South Africa, it was not possible, almost impossible, see, for a man to, fulfill those obligations, two obligations, okay, two duties that we need to do, which is a duty towards family members, children, and duty towards the country, community. So it was almost impossible for the South Africa because of apartheid, yeah, racial discrimination, okay. So what happened in South Africa? See, in South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. See, a man who tries to live, okay, as a human being, they were punished and isolated, separated. Yeah. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably unavoidable. Lived from his family and his home was forced to live apart. Okay, and a man who tried to fulfill his duty towards his people, okay, his country or his community. What happened? They were ripped off. They were taken. That person was taken away from his family and his home, and family was all life apart. Okay, a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. So it is an existence of secrecy means hidden, isn't it? Rebellion means opposing. Okay, resistance to resisting to an organized or established government. So there was hidden and rebellion. Okay, resistance in South Africa. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligations as a son, as a brother, father, and a husband. Okay. So for me, it was very difficult, okay, to fulfill those obligations, whether to look after his parents, the obligation as a son, as a father, or a husband, okay. And while attempting to serve both, to achieve two obligations, she faced lots of hardship. Mandela faces lots of hardship. Yeah, so I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free in every way that I could know, free to run in the fields near my mother's hut, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village, free to roast mealies under the stars and ride the bus, broad day backs of slow-moving bulls. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my birth, of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. So here Mandela says that he was not born, okay, with hunger for free, but he was already free, okay, he was born free. He's free to free in every way that he can, walk, go everywhere, run in the field, mother's hut field, free to swim, stream, run through the villages, free to roast meals under the stars and ride one broad daylight, slow-moving bulls. Okay, so these are for some of the examples that free to do anything. He is already free. That's what he means to say. He was not born with a hunger to be free, but he was born free. Okay, and he said as long as he obeyed his father, and abided by the customs of his tribe, then he was not troubled by the laws of man or God. Okay. So he wants to say no one can take his freedom away, okay? That was given to him by God. Alright. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion, means something appears to be real but not real, okay? Appears to be real but not real, illusion, okay? When I discovered as a young man that my freedom had been already been taken from me, then I began to hunger for it. Right, so it was only when he learned that his boyhood child was just an illusion, okay, and when he discovered that when he as a young man, okay, that all his freedom had been taken away from him, and he began to hunger for freedom, for his freedom that was given to him by God, okay, laws, or God laws, you can say. So at first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself, the transitory. Transitory means not permanent, temporary, right? Freedoms of being able to stay out at night, read what I please, and go where I choose. Later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned. Yearned means desire, okay? To long, T-O-L-O-N-G, or desire, for the basic and honorable freedoms of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying and having a family, the freedom not to be obstructed in lawful life. So he says that at first, when he was a student, okay, he wanted a freedom only for himself, but it was just a temporary, okay, transitory freedom. Being, for example, like being able to stay out at night, read, and wherever he pleased to go, he wants to go. Later, as a young man in Johannesburg, okay, it's a place near Johannesburg, he earned, okay, was desired for the basic and honorable freedom of achieving my potential, like marrying and having a family, okay, the freedom not to be obstructed in. So these are the freedom, the marrying and having a family, and all his birthright, okay, has not to be obstructed, okay, in a lawful life. So he says that simply, being to be able to stay out at night, this is not a real freedom. He needs more than that. It's honorable freedom and basic freedom, okay? Honorable freedom, like marrying, having a family. All right. Let's go to the next paragraph. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed. Curtail means reduce or to cut down, isn't it? But the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. Then that is when I joined the African National Congress, and then when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for my freedom. Mandela, okay, slowly came to know that it was not only his freedom that was taken away, but his brothers, sisters were not free like him. See, and he came to know that it was not only his freedom, but brothers, sisters, all their freedom were cut down, curtailed, reduced. That's why, to get his full freedom, okay, honorable freedom, he joined the African National Congress, okay. So after joining that, hunger for his one freedom become the greater hunger for the freedom of his people, for his countrymen, for the freedom, next page, of his people. So you know very well that this is Nelson Mandela, right? A black man, the first African president, a black president, okay. So it was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives in dignity, with dignity and self-respect, and animated my life, that had transformed a frightening young man into a bold one, and drove a law-abiding attorney to become a criminal, that turned a family-loving husband into a man without a home, that forced a loving man to live like a monk. And I am no more virtuous of self-sacrificing than the next man, but I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. Freedom is indivisible. The chains on every one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chain on all my people were the chains on me. So it says that it was this desire to get a freedom, okay, people for himself and for his people, for his nation, so that they live with dignity and self-respect, okay. And this has changed, transformed this change, okay, from a frightened young man to a bold one. Bold means a brave one, isn't it? So transforming from frightened man to a brave man. And that even transformed law-abiding citizen attorney to become a criminal, and that transformed Family love loving husband into man without a see? Loving husband without a home. And that for some life-loving man to live like a monk, yeah? So when he knew that his people were not free, okay? And he found that he could not be able to enjoy his freedom because he knew that his people were not free, okay? So he says the freedom cannot be divided, okay? It's like a chain, unbreakable chain, see? Of a man with the chains of all them, and chain for all people were the chains of me. So freedom is a chain for everyone. For him, for all the people of South Africa, okay? It's like an unbreakable chain, see? Were chains on me. The chains on all of my people were chains on me. Alright, next. I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. A man who works, takes away another man's freedom is a freedom prisoner or hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. Here, prejudice means a strong dislike without any reason. So here he says that both the oppressor and oppressed must be liberated. We must get freedom, see? The one who is oppressing, okay, must be liberated, okay? Just surely as the one who is oppressed. And he says that a man or oppressor, okay, who is taking away another's freedom is like a prisoner of hatred. So he's locked behind a bar. He's inside a jail, okay, of prejudice, dislike, and narrow-mindedness. So a man who's taking another's, freedoms is like prison of hatred, okay? He's a prison of hatred, see? Locked behind the jail, okay? And he says that I'm not truly free if I'm taking away someone else's freedom. And he says that if he is taking, okay, somebody else's right or freedom, then he's not truly free. Just as surely as I'm not free when I'm freedomless. Likewise, he's not free when someone take away his freedom, okay? So the oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed to their humanity. So here oppressed and the oppressor are likely, okay, robbed to their humanity. So both the oppressed and oppressors must be free, must be liberated. Otherwise, they are robbing our humanity. So let's move to the next page. Alright, this oral comprehension check, thinking about a text, I have already given, okay? Study at home, students. Now, quickly write down the homework for today. Alright, here is your homework for today, students. Do you think there is a discrimination based on caste and color of skin in our country? If yes, suggest ways to eradicate. Eradicate means remove it, okay? Write in about 80 to 100 words, okay? And submit it today itself before 5 p.m. So students, this is the end of the second chapter, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. I'll see you in my next class. Okay, take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.